if you're in this position, you try to make a plan for how to access a fight, right? Like, okay, we're gonna jump this guy, we're gonna cast our spells this way. This is the key hero that we need to shut down. I'm looking at Secret's strategy, and I can't really come up with a very good attack plan right now to entering a fight, right? Yeah. Like, who do you go on with who so that it's successful? When you're playing into boat, you're playing into the BKB, you're playing into an Ursa that's just killing everyone. Moonlight Shadow is a problem. You have to be able to handle getting ice blasted on your carry basically when you go in, because
I mean, what do you think about like Secret's lineup? I mean, it's easier, you know, this is hindsight 2020 stuff,
right,
but like their initiation relies on Yapzor, who is the least farmed player in the entire game. Like, how much of a factor is that? Because he's going for Aghanim. Imagine he had Ags already, which he normally would probably around this time. That gives you double initiation. It gives you so many more possibilities.
It's not necessarily a problem to build a strategy around the 4 being a bit sacrificial. The problem is, again, how badly the lanes went. Like, let's say Clockwork has a bad game and everyone else is doing great. I think it's okay. Like, you can even play Clockwork position 5 in some games if your carry is strong enough. Like, a lane like Gyro position 1 Clock 5 can totally work, even at a pro level. But again, recovering from this tough of a start against a team that has so much catch and so good spell casting is always going to be a major challenge. And I
mean, look at look at Zai. He has a pipe. That's it.
Yeah.
This is not normal farm from Secret, that is for sure.
And they don't have good physical mitigation, right? Like these Kunkka Cleaves, the Ursa are the Rebuke. It's definitely.
We have a smoke from Secret, and well, the Mirana ult as well, but they're going to catch out the Mirana, so they start this fight out 5v4. And of course, Roche is up, and they have to go for this, I feel like. And there is a buyback available on a Mirana.
Yep. They're going to take a risk here. This could back.
Palos jumps in right onto Nisha, absolutely destroying him, but goes in Viz, doesn't have any vision for now, finally finds it. Nico with the Marzel just to ensure that they take out that pesky Invoker. Mirana did buy back. They found the AA as well, so this is now technically a 4v4 as the arrow does connect on Matu. Expect a buyback here on the Invoker potentially as the Ghost Ship coming in. Connect into the Spear as well. They have more than enough damage. And with the dust, Matu finds his way to the grave, and now Execration can do whatever they want. Still buybacks available from Secret, but they're not going to expend them. So they can find one more kill and likely Roche to follow.
I love watching Execration spellcasting. It's like a well-oiled machine. It's so good to
Do you know anything about a well-oiled machine as well?
I do. I have been in the passenger seat of many a well-oiled machine in my life.
I see. Interesting.
Yes. Now, well, what's so beautiful about it is
you have a lot of car references, I noticed. It's interesting.
Machines don't have to be cars.
I know, but that one, when you think of a well-oiled machine, you think of a car. At least a normal human does. It's wow. All right, well, he's actually going to tick out in the fountain with the ice blast.
I don't know. I think of a machine, and a machine could be a lot of things.
So when you say a well-oiled machine, you think of a coffee machine? Is that what you're trying to say?
A meat grinder.
A meat grinder.
Yes.
That's very specific, and it actually speaks volumes to your personality. It makes a lot of sense now.
Yes.
Your upbringing.
Yes.
As Palos, well, we have the Aegis, we have the Shard now, so anytime he uses Earthshock, he will get a 1.5 second enrage buff, which, again, we talked about this yesterday, I think is a top 5 Shard in the entire game.
Very good. Extremely
good. I mean, it's always nice to, like, when you get the second rush, you want to give it to your carry or your mid, typically.
Usually, yeah.
But sometimes there's there's better shards to give it to, technically, right? But this is the best shard, and it's on your carry, so it works both ways here.
The Kunkka shard could have also been interesting. I think it's...
You actually think it's good? I feel like it's a meme.
It's really, like, I feel like on any hero where you just get an additional ability that has damage and repositioning potential, that's powerful, right?
Yeah, but the repositioning could, like, screw everything up, right?
It can.
Because it's a well-oiled machine, and if you add patch notes to a well-oiled machine, you can't do that.
Have you seen
it doesn't work that way.
Have you seen Execration spellcasting? Do you think that's going to mess them up?
Yes.
Okay.
If you've never bought it before and you buy it for the first time, yeah.
Yeah. Of course they've played with Kunkka Shard.
You're assuming a lot of things.
I've seen some Kunkka players with a lot of games that are buying Shard this patch, and they just have so much control. Like, the fact that you can... It's kind of like a pseudo X-Mark even in some situations where you can torrent and then tidal wave people into the torrent. And I think tidal wave gets a lot better when you have Ags. So I guess from that perspective, since he went for the physical build with Halberd, maybe he doesn't take it, but when you have Torrent Storm, it's actually super annoying, because usually, like, in fights, people will navigate the storm, right? They will try to get around it. Okay, Puppy's dead again.
It's fine. Keep talking.
how's Puppy doing this game? I feel like he's only died. Okay, 1-5-1.
He has more farm than YapzOr still.
Yeah, he has.
I mean, he's basically position 4 Hoodwink.
I think this might be YapzOr's lowest CS ever, minute 28. No joke. It might be the least CS he's ever had. He has 18 creeps.
Yeah, that's...
I don't remember seeing... Like, when he plays clock, even, he'll usually have at least, like, double this or triple. But there's just been nothing to claim. The map has just been on lockdown.
I mean, again, this is less about Secret playing poorly, in my opinion. It's more about Execration just playing godlike right now. They're doing everything right.
They really are.
I mean, plenty of time on Aegis. You really hate to lose it here. Nice sidestep of the Sunstrike, which you definitely knew was coming. And we'll TP back to base.
X mark for the refill.
Neutral. And a Titan Sliver. Very
Sliver
nice.
is very good. Okay, serious time.
Okay. That means not serious time.
Exactly. Out of your teammates that you get in your pubs, how big a percentage do you think call it Titan Silver, and how many call it Titan Silver?
I would say more than half say Silver.
Yeah. Even in
when you asked what was that a test for me?
Huh?
Were you testing how I would say it?
No, I mean I said it for you. I said Sliver.
Oh, did you? No, you said what neutral item is it?
Oh, I did. Actually, true. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. You always test me. And I love it. Initiation on Anisha. Enrage is popped. That was actually the ultimate and not his shard. They're going to reset here as the cold feet onto YapzOr. And it will actually proc. Ghost ship coming into the X, and that's an easy kill on YapzOr again. So tier 2 to follow in all likelihood. I mean, the wall has already been placed as well, so Palace with that Aegis should be able to go in anytime he wants. Oh, nice tornado actually disrupts the Nico Mars ult, so wasn't able to get that off, but...
That was very fortuitous. That tornado was actually not intended for him. But he blinked into it.
Yeah, I do that a lot with Puppy as well. Puppy. Yeah, looks like he's donezo. Needs the help from Nico, though, so that'll be an easy one as Zai. Kind of on the outskirts of this fight. I mean, they do have buybacks on Secret, so they probably have one fight in them here.
They forced the BKB on Matsu as well with Ice Vortex into Arrow. He had to BKB that. He was scared of dying.
And look at that. He's actually going Ags, which is like not the typical thing on Sven anymore because they just lack initiation right now. I mean, typically, if you're going to get that, you want a lot more farm first, right? It feels like kind of a desperation mode, which obviously pretty understandable.
They need the big combo, right? They need Vacuum into Stormhammer, and they need, the moment that Stormhammer connects, they need a big amount of damage, so...
That Crystallis. Oh, here's the Mars ult onto 2. No BKB for Mr. Matu. The Ice Blast will finish him off. YapzOr next on the list, and this is a huge stomp in Execration's favor. It's going to be a 1-0 start for them. Again, both teams have split every single series they played so far. And they both desperately need a 2-0 at some point. It's Nisha, they have the vision, and they have the kill.
If Secret don't clean this up for the next game, this is going to be a 2-0. They look absolutely just lost.
Yeah, they look pretty lost here.
But the thing is, I feel like it's very easy to look lost when you lose all 3 lanes and your tower and Roche this fast and your lineup works like this. So you gotta draft differently. Like for me, this really, it comes back to the draft that you're setting yourselves up to kind of have to massively outplay. Whereas Execration, if they perform their strategy well and do the lanes well, which I think they overperform it, not necessarily for them, but they won probably by more than I would have expected on average in these 3 lanes, especially bottom. Like the Ursa was 1,000 net worth ahead of Darkseer minute 6 or something. It was pretty crazy. If you're going to show up like this today, Secret really needs to get back to the drawing board. And I think what they should adjust for game number 2, they need to have stronger lanes and they need to be able to fight them head on. Like they actually just have to.
Regeneration.
Well, they're going to hold on for one more potential Wombo combo. Matu about 1,000 away from finishing up his Ags. So he'll be able to travel with his Stormhammer.
He almost needs to do it on his own, though. Invoker's damage.
I mean, even with that, I mean, again, obviously they're severely underfarmed, but just a Crystallis, that's not really that much damage. Spear will miss. AA Blast coming in, though. Matu getting chased. Yeah, he's inside the arena now. And this is going to be a relatively easy kill. The BKB is popped by Palos. And he just absolutely crushes them. Buyback. And yet another BKB usage just to run away. That feels like the whole game has been like that for Secret. Defensive BKBs, can't use it to fight.
Yeah.
Not able to really connect on their, like, the quote-unquote combo or Wombo combo potential. And and Palace has played extremely well on the Ursa. Has a Satanic now, as we're going to see. Oh, that, I'm not sure if that was intended, but that worked out relatively well. Matu, here we go. This is the potential here inside a closed quarter area. Back into the wall. Yeah, the cogs are just screwing everything up. Nobody can figure out where the hell they're pathing. Matu pops the BKB, pounding upon Youe, but now he's stuck inside the arena into an arrow. That's technically a dieback. And I expected GG here out any moment.
I've been there as clockwork, you know? You get this 3-man catch you really want to cog, and now your Sven can't get in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matu was actually blocked out from getting in. Some good damage that he could have maybe found 2 kills, but yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know if that would have really cut it. Execration just, that was a dismantling. Was that the most one-sided game of the major so far?
Of the games that we've cast,
of ours,
sure.
easily, that was a total stop. Yeah. Like, Secret didn't get
I mean, it was a 2K net worth lead at like 6 minutes, it felt like, 7 minutes. Maybe that's a little early, but it was super fast. Which, again, like against Secret, that is literally, I cannot remember the last time I've seen something like that. Because typically they'll get the better farm, all things considered equal. But, I mean, you talked about how Secret needs to come back with a vengeance, because if they continue to, even if they win this next game, which they have to now, if you go 0-2, I don't know what the chances are, but I don't think really you can get top slim. 2. That sounds unrealistic. But, I mean, Execration, if they're going to look like that, then they're going to take this 2-0.
I really want to start from the beginning for Secret in the next game. Like, don't first pick Hoodwink. I just, again, for me, even if Puppy loves this here, even if they flex it, I think it's just too conditional. Like, there's just too many things that need to align. Execration took full advantage of it. Pick something more stable, strong lanes, good team fight, and you could beat Execration at their own game. Maybe. If they're playing like this, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll also see what the beautiful panel has to say about Synderen's terrific commentary. I literally don't even know what camera to look at, but let's see what the great Richard Campbell has to say about this series.
All right, well, not too much to talk about with that one. They just got kind of bodied, but let's talk about why it did happen, because Execration, they've made for upsets, but this is probably the most one-sided matchup that we've seen in the entire wild card so far. It felt like it was decided around like 5 minutes, BSJ.
Yeah, I think what Synderen said during the cast was great in the sense that he said their game plan was pretty obvious, you know, to follow what Execration's recipe for success was. And even though it's easy to expect it, was Secret prepared out of laning phase? Did they even have the resources to ever deal with it, even if they knew it was going to slap them right in the face? Because bottom lane, I would have to watch it back in terms of exactly what happened there. I thought Clock Darkseer would do much better against the AA Ursa, but Palos was just #1 net worth super early on. They end up getting the exact recipe. First Rosh into second Rosh around 25 minutes. You get that Ag shot on Ursa. It's incredibly powerful since you're going for this defusal build. You're not.
Minor engagement going on here. Oh God, I'm X'd. I'm trying to run away, but you can't run away.
Yeah, let's talk about what really happened to make it so one-sided, so we can try to figure out what's going to happen in the second game. Because you mentioned with the Ursa, for example, you're like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Ursa unless this really juicy scenario comes along where they're able to snowball it, they're able to hit those rush timings like you just mentioned as well. What allowed them to do that, though? Like, was it Execration playing out of their mind in the laning phase, or do you think it comes to problems in the draft or problems in execution on the side of Secret?
Well, I think it was the fact that bottom lane, after the first 3 creep waves, was Ursa favored, and I just don't think that can happen. Ursa's level 1 and 2 are so bad. Like, level 3 becomes pretty strong. But level 1 and 2, he's not supposed to be winning the lane, and he was #1 CS in the entire game. And then Yapsor leaves the lane to help mid around 4 minutes, which totally makes sense. But then he gets the EMP mana burn from the Invoker onto the Kunkka, so he can't boat him. But then you get the X into a 5-second arrow, or, you know, whatever, max duration arrow, and suddenly you've got 2 lanes that are just done, you know, and you can't lose 2 lanes that early on into the game.
This is really bad for Secret, though. I was starting to think about what the rest of the day looks like as far as, you know, progressing out of wild card. If they lose this, really, really long road to try to get out of that. I'm not even sure if it's possible. I need to actually crunch the numbers. I'll do that during this game to try to figure out. I'm not going to crunch the numbers. I'm going.
Yeah, you're going to ask somebody else.
I'm literally going to go through. I'm going to go through tweets and figure it out. But that will be something that we double check because it starts to get out of reach very quickly. Definitely do not want to drop this game. And one of the things that we actually heard the casters mention is Hoodwink and not wanting to see that. Do you feel the same way, Tsunami?
Yeah, ironically, I feel like Secret would do better in this BO2 type setup with Puppey as a captain, known for his stubbornness, which if he likes something, he's going to keep doing it. But in a BO2 situation, there's no like, well, let's just give it one more game to see if I really find potential in it. Here, it's like, okay, Hoodwink did not work out in game number 1. It gave them success in some earlier series, but I don't think the hero is quite deep enough to warrant first phase potential. And so I'm not really discouraged. Secret is not the type of team that gets rattled. They usually beat themselves whenever they're losing. And so I think that they're going to bounce back in game number 2. But if they don't, it is definitely very grim.
It's funny. You just talk about their style as a squad. It's not really a best of 2 style. It's very, very tailored to being in the typical best of 3 scenario or having more games to actually work with, figure it out, adapt on the fly inside of a series. Now, when you're in the scenario where you can't pull down the W, you really have to put a lot of pressure on the rest of the day. Can't lose here. They need to make sure that they at least win the second game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar story for the second game one way or the other, because you guys talked about the Secret game plan traditionally has been snowballing the lanes. And Execration, you know, we talked about how not only did they get off to a good start, but man, did they hit the ground running. Like, the Kunkka invading the stacks, those were perfectly executed. The ward and he just arrowed Matu while he was farming it, used the bow to even not only just kill the Sven, but also kill the stack. That's efficiency, if you ask me. But just everything around the map, like there's no escaping. I think Execration really proved that they can keep the pace of the game that is required to continuously shut down a tier 1 team. And that shows a lot of promise. And I'm not like, you can't let them have this early lead again. You cannot let them have that. If you're Secret.
So many times when there's like a skill differential, the better teams, like 2 years ago Secret versus probably 2 years ago Execration, would be like, they'll probably mess up a high ground push. We can just sit tight. They're going to make a mistake at some point. But we had talked about this yesterday, that the gap between like tier 1 and tier 2 is not nearly as prominent as it once was. Everyone knows what to do for the most part. There are like micro movements that you can improve that really separate S tier from A tier.
Usually like the approach to how you do exactly what you're doing.
Like the blueprint is there and everyone knows how to follow it. And there's not really going to be as many slip-ups these days.